Go, boy!
What up, folks? We are back, and we're doing something a little bit special. So me and Sue are gonna be talking about the movie Air. It's gonna be dropping soon digitally. Actually, it's be dropping in a week or so on Amazon Prime. Actually, but it had a theater release not too like what 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
It was about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. Me and Sue saw it 3 weeks ago, and then I would say it's a stroke of luck because we were supposed to do the review, and then when I thought of one, I was like, hold on, it comes out digitally in a few weeks. How about we just do it then? So Air is basically the story of how Nike courted one Michael Jordan into the famous Jordan brand deal that he is famous to this day and age for.
Yeah, the movie has like a lot of interesting facts and trivia that people, I would say younger than us, would not know.
Yeah. And I think the greatest thing about this film is that they give you a baseline of things that happened. Just the fact that Nike wasn't this big powerhouse in the '80s. They really weren't.
They weren't.
Their basketball shoe division was literally on the cusp of basically getting phased out because them sales were shit. And that's compared to, was it Converse and Adidas essentially?
Yeah, between Converse, Adidas, and hell, can you even say no, not necessarily Reebok. Yeah, mostly Converse and Adidas.
Converse and Adidas, they were the big two.
Yeah. And I think back then, what the highest shoe that Nike had was like running shoes.
Yeah, that's it. That's all that they were known for. And, they end up, teaming up with the Nike's basketball talent scout, Sonny Vaccaro, who is played by Matt Damon, to come up with like the person that could be the face of the basketball shoe line and stuff, just to kind of revive it. And he's working alongside fucking Phil Knight, who is the CEO of Nike at this point, and Rob Strasser to really, Rob Strasser played by Jason Bateman and Phil Knight by Ben Affleck, to kind of come up with like this big thing to reinvigorate the Nike basketball shoe line, essentially. And they start looking at the 1984 draft, and who was one of the people that got drafted? Michael Jordan.
Yep, Jordan, and wasn't Stockton on it too?
I think so. Hold on, let me check.
There was like a list. I remember they went down like the whole list.
So Akeem Olajuwon was number one.
Yep.
Jordan was also part of it. Barkley was also a part of it. Stockton was in it as well. Otis Thorpe, Kevin Willis. Those are pretty much the big ones that everybody knows.
And all those people that you just named.
Sam Perkins.
Yeah, Sam Perkins. I remember everybody that you named in it. I was like, huh. When they showed them off in the movie, they were like, Adidas, Converse, Adidas, Converse. Nobody from Nike was picking them up.
And Jordan was off limits initially because of the fact that, Converse or Adidas, you want to get them. And the thing of it is too,
Jordan specifically said himself that he was originally going to sign with Adidas.
Okay, sign with Adidas. And people forget this is another nugget about the film too that you can find out too, is that Nike's basketball division didn't really have a lot of money to work with.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest sticking point of the movie, is seeing the running around that Strasser, Knight, and Vicario are doing to try to get this shit with Jordan, because they've really put all their chips in Michael Jordan to really be part of the brand. And that's the big get of this film, is watching the moving parts of how they get it all done. And I think that's what ends up making the movie good. And then you add in Viola Davis playing, Jordan's mom, Dolores, and there you go. That's your movie right there. They have a guy that plays a young Michael Jordan. Was it Damian Young playing the young Michael Jordan? Which I was like, that's interesting. I didn't think he was gonna pop up in this movie, but
which again, I'm still happy how they shot this movie. Like this is not a movie specifically about Jordan. Like this is Nike movie.
Oh, it's a Nike. You might as well say it's kind of like a Nike commercial in a way.
Yep.
for the Jordan 1 brand and everything and stuff. So it's like self-serving in a way, but yeah, it definitely could have. This movie could have easily went in a direction of like, oh, this movie is about the Michael Jordan. It's like, no, Jordan is just one piece of the puzzle of where of showing the rise of Nike into this behemoth that they are today, and how they did it. And all it was Michael Jordan. They gambled on him.
I mean, and not, and there for damn sure was a good gamble because, like you said, the Nike talent scout dude was looking at like Damon, like Matt Damon played he played the role very well. You know, like when you see him act out the role, I was like, dude, Matt looks like he knows his shit about basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He sat and watched Jordan's college championship game, the '82 game,
Yeah.
and he said, "No, go back and look at this. Look at this. Like, look at that moment. Do you even see what I'm seeing here? This
Mhm.
man already saw the roadmap for Jordan just from his winning shot alone."
Even talked to the Olympic coach that Jordan was on. It was Marlon Wayne's place, was it George Raveling?
Yeah.
And he's talking to him. And again, all this is to, because you got to think about it. You're a company and you're banking on this kid who hasn't even touched the floor of the NBA. And again, that's the
Coming
biggest
in
thing,
hot off of college.
coming hot. And you have to convince the Nike execs like this is the kid. This is it. And I think that's what makes it ups the tension. It kind of reminds me of Moneyball. I don't know if you ever watched that movie.
I didn't see Moneyball, no.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Moneyball, and where you see the inner workings of how they got stuff done.
Right.
Just the way that they were courting the shoe designers to go prep to prototype and how they come up with the name Air Jordan. after after Nike's was the air sole technology that they were using for the shoes, for the running shoes, I think.
Yeah, see, that was the one thing I did love about this, that we actually get we finally got some insight on how they were able to make the Jordan 1 Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And when they introduced Peter Moore into the movie, well, the character, the guy who played Peter Moore, I was like, thank you, because this cannot be a Nike movie without us seeing the Chicago.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'd be stupid not to do that. Which that's what kind of irks me. It's like you have this Air movie and they didn't do no big shoe release in
I
real
mean,
life
like
with this.
you could not make this movie without showing off the shoe.
Yeah, yeah,
When they showed the shoe and they were looking at it, they said, okay, let's take that the Zoom Air technology and put it in a basketball shoe.
yeah.
And let me tell you something. You want to know one of the great things about about a time in like in sports fashion history is when you get someone who eat, sleep, breathes, drinks basketball sportswear. This guy designed the Jordan 1. And he
Mm,
designed it in a way that no other shoe company uh ever thought possible. I mean,
yeah,
you gotta really, you look at the Jordan 1 to like anyone today looks at Jordan 1s as like, yeah, they're ones, they're classic, blah blah blah. No, you really got to take your mind back to 1984 and
yeah.
look at like just seeing what the Jordan 1 looked like before Jordan even touched it.
And it was great that they showed that, yeah, this sneaker was made for actual basketball, straight
It
up.
was made for not just made for basketball, but made specifically for him,
Hmm.
because they even put the Air Jordan, the basketball, and the wings.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's
Just
funny.
throw it right there on like right there on the upper.
Yeah, and I'm kind of laughing too because I mentioned Viola Davis playing Dolores Jordan, her acting her ass off because it's Viola Davis, and I'm just laughing because I'm like, I'm gonna laugh so hard if she gets like a nomination for this movie and
And then I'm
wins
gonna
off
see. I'll
this.
laugh. I'll laugh if she gets like. I'll laugh.
It's a
Like
good role. She
it's a
she
good.
she. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
But it's like, man,
it's
this is
definitely
the
good.
one, not the Woman King. This one, like,
No, I will be extremely, extremely upset if she doesn't get anything for this movie.
oh, she was acting her ass off. It's like that's why I was like, I would feel some way because I felt she was acting her ass off in Woman King, and she got no nominations for that. So I'm like, really, Air is the one that she. Okay, is this the makeup one? Cool, this is the makeup one. Got you.
I mean, because not only did you play. Jordan's mom, but like the way that you had her say everything that I believe Dolores did say to Nike, which was, "My son will sign, but here are the following conditions." And bro, when she broke everything down and said,
Yeah,
I'm, I'm looking back at everybody at Nike like, you better not say no.
yeah,
You got him this far. You better not say no.
and low key, people don't know this. Jordan was actually he wasn't directly involved, but he definitely gave his blessing on this movie. And part of the reasons why he gave his blessing for this movie was one, this is before this movie even dropped in theaters. One, including George Raveling, his assistant coach from the '84 men's basketball team. That was his big thing. Extending the role for his parents, especially since they were essentially instrumental in him changing his mind and signing with Nike.
Yep.
That was their idea, which was great. Um, Howard White, Vice President Jordan Brand, be included in this film too, obviously, because that's another person that was very involved in Jordan's career when he signed with Nike in a way, with
Mm-hmm.
the Jordan brand, definitely. And also, was it Tinker Hatfield? He was supposed to be in it, but because he wasn't necessarily involved in the creation of it, it's like, well, take him out because there's no point.
See, and the reason why Tinker Hatfield wouldn't necessarily be in it is because it was Peter Moore. Like this was Peter Moore's moment.
Mm-hmm.
For him making the first Jordan shoe.
Because
Tinker
Tinker was Air Jordan 3 or 4.
Tinker Hatfield didn't show up until the Jordan 3.
Okay, I don't know why I
Because
thought it was 4.
no, it was the 3 because when Tinker, like before Tinker showed up, Peter came up with the idea and the design of the not so popular but somewhat still appreciated depending on the colorway Jordan 2. And it was actually
Mm.
that shoe that got him fired from Nike.
Damn, really?
If you can believe, no, it's not
The
in the
Jordan
movie.
2. The Jordan 2.
The Jordan 2. I lie to you not. Jordan 2 was the shoe that got him fired. He got
No,
he got no, because really think about it.
to
If
be
anyone
fair,
who
I'm looking at the picture of Jordan 2s. I understand, Nike. I understand.
I'm
I
just
understand. I understand. Little
I'm just
rash, I would have suspended him, but not fire him. But I get
I'm
it.
just
I understand.
no,
I
but
understand.
I'm just saying, no, seriously, Chris, think about this. You give us an icon with the Jordan 1. You
Mhm.
pretty much helped save Nike along with Jordan, right?
Brought in billions of dollars for the company.
Shoe is flying off the shelf. Nike paying what was it, $5,000 a game because of the color
Mhm.
of the shoe. The shoes were considered banned,
Yeah.
and the NBA wouldn't allow it. And Jordan was like, "Fuck it." He's still gonna, like Nike was like, "Fuck it." He's still gonna play. He's gonna play in these shoes regardless, and
What
we'll
even
pay the
lost?
fines.
Yeah.
But Peter Moore, you go and give us the Jordan 2. And what makes the Jordan 2 such I guess, an eyesore of a shoe is it's a complete 180 from what the 1 is.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that identifies nothing relates that shoe to like to say this is a Nike shoe, because think about it. It's the only Jordan shoe that doesn't even have the Nike swoosh on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not only that, Jordan himself hated those shoes.
Oh, choose.
Yeah, he hated the
Oh,
twos.
dude. Again, I totally understand Nike why you fired him. Not saying it's right, but I get it.
Yeah, I get it, but ugh, that
That
shoe.
was.
It's like, how do you go from greatness and then the very next shoe, you get fired?
I'm pretty sure he wants that moment back.
He needs that moment back. I wish Nike would have got him back to, he could have came to them with an idea for a shoe.
Which too is, I mean, to be credit though, he did move on to Adidas and establish them. So he came back pretty good. He landed on his
Yeah.
feet.
The funny thing is that Peter did say that he had this vision of putting the Jumpman symbol on the Jordan 1.
That makes sense.
but the thing is, like, because even I try to look at it, like I look at my pair of Jordan ones. I'm like, where could you honestly put the Jumpman symbol?
Mm, that is
I mean,
true.
you could probably put it on the back of the heel like they do with most shoes, but I actually like the Air Jordan jet tag with the wings and the basketball on it. To me, that's still a better look.
Hmm.
But but that aside, Tinker didn't show up till like to
Yeah.
the 3-4 timeline. Um,
But yeah, like
and
I think to your point though, you made a good point that this movie does give a lot of people that are younger than us to see the inner workings of like how Nike and Jordan was. Cause I think a lot of people younger than us presumed that Nike was always this big behemoth company from day one. And it's like, no, they weren't.
mhm,
They were not.
they weren't. Hell, if anything, they were damn near on. Well, I wouldn't say they were on the point of. They weren't necessarily on the like on the brink of bankruptcy or anything like that, but they needed something. They
Yeah, I
needed
mean, when
something
your
to say,
basketball shoe division needs to get shuttered, it's like, well, clearly your running shoes are doing pretty good for you. So, all right,
yeah,
cool.
like people gonna look at them like oh we're just a running shoe company, but no, I mean because you gotta remember too, the hip hop game was pretty much ruled by Adidas.
Mhm.
You
I mean,
know, back in the 80s,
Run
if you
DMC,
weren't
my
rocking,
Adidas. Like, come on.
like if you weren't rocking a pair of Adidas and break dancing with Adidas during that time in the 80s, like nobody was rocking Nikes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's, and you know what? I will give credit to this. This is where I give credit to. Because Ben Affleck directed this movie, but when you have, you know, Ben and Matt producing and stuff in the driver's seat, you get greatness.
You do.
So as I was like, oh, Ben and Matt are doing, I'm in, fucking in. Let's go.
I mean, this is probably like probably my second favorite uh Matt Damon movie besides Ford versus Ferrari.
Look, Ford versus Ferrari is gonna have to be tough to top because I swear to you, anytime that shit's on fucking TV, I keep that shit on
I
immediately.
do too. And trust me,
It
this
could be in the
movie
middle of
Air
the movie. Nope, still watching it. Let's go.
and trust me, Air is another movie that's good. This movie's gonna be in that is gonna be in that it's gonna be loaded in the chamber of movies that I just throw on like, oh, like I just happen to show up and this movie's on, put it in the background, dog.
Oh no,
Like,
no, trust me. It's this. It's Air, Moneyball, Ford versus Ferrari. There's a couple other movies like this that I'm like, yeah, I keep it on in the background because it's really that good. But yeah, Air definitely caught my attention big time, just like Ford versus Ferrari did. It's just seeing the inner workings of these things, and it's one of those situations where you have to give something that people can engage with your film to keep them coming back to seeing it, even when it comes on TV. And Air does that. It makes you want to be like, oh, I want to watch this. This is actually fun to watch.
yep.
And like I said, it's my fear going into it is like, is this going to devolve into a Michael Jordan movie where we see young Jordan kicking open the fucking Nike doors and be like, what is this? That kind of shit. But it's like, oh no, it's not. It's, nah, you know.
You know, the other thing I really liked about this movie is that it just showed you the determination of getting somebody signed. Like when you are that crazy and that desperate that you really truly believe in that you can pull off something like this. Because remember, everybody in this movie was like, there's no way. There's no way you're gonna get Jordan.
No, you're not. Even though we know they're going to get Jordan, it's like, well, how did you get here?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. I'm like, how exactly did you pull that off? How did you make, how were you able to turn the tide? And I'm like, oh, very easy. Like anyone, like anyone grows up, with a anyone who grew up, with good parents knows that you don't necessarily talk to the player. And I think that's what a lot of people, like a lot of people in business fail to understand is you're not trying to convince the person that you're trying to sign. You go through their family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in this case, uh like he went directly to Jordan's parents. And there was a moment like the very first day where he showed up in North Carolina and once he got to the door and he meets Jordan's dad, he told him who he was And without missing a beat, Jordan's dad, like James, goes, "Oh, here we go." When he says that line, yo, everybody in the theater was cracking up.
I mean, just
As soon as he told who he was and where he was from, he's like, "Yeah, I'm here. Like, I'm here representing Nike." Oh, here we go.
let's go. It's yeah, definitely. It's gonna drop on Amazon Prime, I believe. So March release. Hold up, hold up. Let me see, but I don't want to give people the wrong date. Uh, May 12th. So May 12th is going to hit Amazon Prime, and yeah, definitely watch it. It's definitely a good watch, and you'll definitely enjoy it 100%, man. Like I said, it's definitely up there with Ford versus Ferrari as far as like entertaining sports movies based off of real situations go. I never felt at any point in time in Air things were embellished for the sake of embellishment.
Yeah, like everything felt pretty. I mean, I wasn't there, like we weren't there, but I mean, this honestly feels like genuinely accurate.
Yeah, and I mean, some people are gonna probably be like, "Oh, this is just Nike sucking themselves off," and I'm like, Okay, maybe I can see that, but this is kind of a story that is interesting to show. Like, how
Hell,
did
it's
we get
interesting to
here?
me because even I wanted to know. I mean, there's one thing to go on Google and search Wikipedia, but I'm like, nah, sure. I want to see a visual interpretation of that story.
Yeah, and I never felt just like in Ford versus Ferrari, even though after the movie I found out certain things. Ford versus Ferrari was pretty much 95% close to what was happening in real life with that whole situation. So I
Yeah.
was like, all right, cool. That's better than them embellishing shit for the sake of embellishing stuff. I mean, so I'm pretty sure this movie probably had some moments of maybe some slight embellishment, but I mean, that's a movie. It's a
I mean,
90,
and
close to a
again, it was
90-minute movie.
probably if anything was in there, it was probably for drama, for dramatic effect, pacing reasons.
Mhm.
But I can let all that slide. I mean, you told a story. It was a good story, a true story at that, and if anything, it gave me reasons to appreciate the Jordan brand for the history that it gave us.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So but yeah, at any rate, that is our review of Air. Be sure to check it out on Amazon Prime when it drops on May 12th, and we will check you guys later. Peace out.
See ya.